Okay, welcome. All right, welcome everybody to our Black History Month event. This is the Poetry Slam with the Prince George's County Public School students. And we certainly welcome you today on this cold, rainy, kind of muggy day. Thankfully, we have Zoom to keep us here today. A little Zoom etiquette. As a reminder, please keep your videos turned off unless you are actually participating today in the Poetry Slam. We also invite you to know that this is being recorded. It is also being streamed on Facebook. And we also invite you to make sure that you keep your microphones on mute, as well as any phone device on mute. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Rick Gordon. He is a member of the Black History and Community, Black History and Culture Committee. Rick?
How are you doing, folks? Welcome to our Poetry Slam. And we're definitely glad you are joining us. Poetry is a big part of Black history. Such poets as Langston Hughes, who paved the way for many other poets that's come through and definitely made ways of Black poetry and expressing yourself. So with that being said, we're going to have a great time today. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Mr. Neville, who is one of the teachers and mentors for Dialect PG, along with Mr. Patrick Washington. And they're going to give us some great poetry. We have some other local poets as well. And remember, this is sponsored by the Greenbelt History and Culture Committee on Black History, and also by the Random Acts of Kindness, the RUAC Committee as well, and Mr. Robert Goldberg Strassler. So we definitely going to turn the floor over to Mr. Neville Adams shortly, and he will be introducing our poets, our student poets, and all those who will be presenting us with some awesome poetry. I love poetry. I am an author of 3 books of poetry myself, so I'm definitely going to enjoy this. And Mr. Adams, the floor is yours. And also, too, just to make a point to thank our Department of Recreation, who have been a great part of getting this program together. And we definitely want to thank them for doing that and definitely giving us guidance on that. So, Mr. Adams, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yep, it's all you. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, all right. I had a little bit of technical difficulties at the very beginning. Let me get in. Many are called, but we have been chosen. Unlike a tame horse, we refuse to be broken. We refuse to be victims in this decadent society. With this dangerous mind, we'll fracture your reality. Grab hold of your thoughts before you can spit it. If it's a crime to murder ignorance, many felonies we've committed. And like a phoenix, we have arisen from the ashes, born from the hearts of revolution and product of urban clashes. Yes, welcome, 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 welcome. I'm here representing Dialect and Lyrical Storm in Prince George's County and the Prince George's County Youth Poet Laureate Program. We will be introducing some phenomenal poets today that will be sharing some of their insights and speaking their truth. Afterwards, which you will have the opportunity to, ask them questions or discuss. They're going to talk about the craft themselves. Let's get this started with our first poet. Are you ready, Nathan? Are you ready from Roosevelt High School? Are you ready for it, Nathan?
I'm ready, yes.
All right, Nathan, do your thing.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nathan Mcdie, and I've written a poem called America, Cold-Hearted Killer. America's got a cold heart, so they'll put you in an icebox, all from a simple, routine night stop. The cop pulls up to the window, says kill the engine, turn the lights off, then proceeds to read my rights off. He says he can smell the liquor in my cough. I tell him, sir, I haven't been drinking. Just finished a hard day shift, wanted to take the night off. His name is Officer T, so I better watch who I cross. I asked him, what's the deal, boss? He says, meeting him tonight was my loss. He feels emboldened, knowing he'll get away with anything, even without his camera or his mic off. He says he found the bag of weed that I tossed. But sir, didn't you just say you smell alcohol? Don't interrupt me, he says. I'm the boss here. He's got his hand on his hip, so I let him know that I'm all ears. He puts the gun to my chest. Feels like a sharp spear. My mind is racing, and it's all fear. I know in the next 30 seconds, he could leave my family in all tears. I take off, taking my life into my hands, gripping it dear. He approaches, taking a couple shots from the rear, blasts so loud, feels like it's grazing my ear. Disoriented by the shots, off the path I veer, I crash. My car is unable to steer. He pulls me out, says, your ending is near. Brain bursting because nothing is clear. 2 shots, pow, pow. Now there's nothing left that I fear. Thank you.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Okay, Nathan. You're really putting it down, Nathan. Let me ask you a question before you get out of here, because I know you had somewhere that you had to go. What inspires you to write?
Well, for this poem particularly, it was the night following George Floyd's death, and I like to put beats on when I'm just kind of by myself, and I don't know, it just kind of came to me. But in general, what inspires me to write is just looking at society and what's around us, and seeing just all the negativity and all the wrongdoings, and you know how sometimes it feels helpless. I know it kind of inspires me to just write and kind of just let my voice be heard.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your truth with us, Nathan.
I appreciate it.
Next up to the microphone, we have Deja Epps, and on deck we'll have Joran Ellison.
Hello. My poem is called Shades of Fire. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, it sounds good.
Okay. Why do Black people still live in that fantasy land where my skin color meant better and the more melanin, the better is still deemed lesser than? A picture painted by the white man that our community's self-esteem holds up like a blazing torch. Don't matter if we get scorched, the color scheme of beauty burning the ashes from the flames of broken understanding and communication. Different shades of discrimination doesn't erase its definition. Georgia Smiths and Summer Walkers, why does their acceptance and beauty come under certain conditions of sexual exploitation and worthy composition? It's crazy how next to the liberal agendas of feminism and gender, the country seems to take a blind eye to that fire of one of our biggest traumas being colorism. Black love, melanin is more than just a trend. It's medicine for a race that needs healing from within. Thank you.
Nice. Let me ask you the same question. What inspires you to write?
What inspires me to write is just things that are on my mind, really. Like things that I feel like with my poetry, it's things that maybe people don't really focus on, or things that are personal to me. And colorism is something that affects every Black person. But as a light-skinned person, I don't know, I experience certain things, or I've seen darker skinned girls come to me and say, oh, I haven't had a guy talk to me like this, or oh, I've been treated this way, or they're saying that I'm prettier because of how I look. And it breaks my heart. So I was like, it kind of put me in perspective of this is something that we really do not talk about. And it's something that hurts us. And it's something that's old and historical, colorism. But I feel like Black people can break out of that. You know, we have white supremacy and other things going on, but I feel like that's something that we can heal within our own community.
Okay, sounds good. Deja, what grade are you in, and what school do you represent?
I'm in 12th grade and I go to Largo.
Largo, okay. Sounds good. So you're the Youth Poet Laureate Ambassador from representing Largo.
Yes.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right, coming up next we have Joran Ellison, and Dejuan Coleman would be on deck. Okay, Joran, take it away.
Hi, I go to Frederick Douglass High School and I'm in 11th grade. This doesn't have a title yet, but I feel the message is still important. So. As we sat silent at sit-ins while coffee, the color of our skin, hotter than our rage, was thrown in our faces. As we peacefully walked across bridges, but were met with cattle prods, batons, and dogs gnawing on our arms and legs. As we narrowly escaped buses being bombed only to be beaten as we walked off. As we entered school buildings we were supposed to be in and had insults, spit objects, and fists thrown our ways. As we played music for cookouts and have police called on us. As we sit in Starbucks and have the police called on us. As we sleep in the common rooms of our colleges that have campus police called on us. As we walk home from a convenience store and have a random man follow and shoot us for convenience. You tell us not to riot. You tell us Martin wanted you to be nonviolent. You say you are only burning down your own neighborhoods. You ask, why are we always loud and brutal? You say violent protests are futile. I say, who killed Martin? Why is he not here to lead us in a nonviolent protest? Martin also said, a riot is the language of the unheard. I say, half the places people are looting are huge companies who either outright don't care about the plight of the protesters or pretend to protest alongside us, using a blackface to erase their past transgressions. We sadly must march in remembrance of our people who were killed for no rhyme or reason, or it will continue to happen. We are marching for Martin, AKA Medgar, AKA Trayvon, AKA Addie Carroll, Cynthia Denise, AKA Emmett, AKA Freddie, AKA Tony, AKA Sandra, AKA Eric, AKA Ahmad, AKA my name so many times until these AKs will stop pointing at faces like mine. I wonder why you think we just wish to be loud. As if we sit around waiting and hoping one of us will be killed so we can cause havoc in the streets, as if we don't wish for peace. You ask, why does it have to be loud and violent? I say because we've been silent for years. Our ancestors weren't ever allowed to make noise, so we make it for them. For every quiet cry stifled, every tear wiped away with the whips, every jaw clenched, every raised fist pushed down in the mist from fire hoses, every dog bite taking away the focused pain from our bloody noses, every scream trapped in glass jars is now being released. Thank you.
Okay, that's a lot of passion and a lot of things that were, you know, a lot of ideas that were delivered. What inspires you to write?
Usually personal things that affect my psyche or cause me stress. It usually helps alleviate the stress for me.
Okay.
So that's
okay. And one other question is, this is a journey that I personally have seen with you. What has your journey been like in terms of you starting writing and how you've gotten to this place where you are in terms of being a Youth Poet Laureate ambassador?
Can you like reframe the question in another way? Like my journey?
Yeah. When you started writing, from the point of you started writing, when you started writing to where you are now in terms of your craft, how what did you do to get to this place?
This is gonna sound like cliche, I guess, but just writing more. Like I write almost every day, and it's not necessarily a great thing, like an amazing piece, but just like small activities like practicing alliteration or accents or just free verse. And overall, like some small warm-up exercises become great long pieces eventually. But just overall continuous writing.
Okay, sounds good. All right, next up we have Dejuan. Dejuan, the floor is yours.
Hi, it's Dayon, but My
Dejuan,
piece,
got
my piece. Oh, I'm out of high school, but I graduated from Fairmont Heights High School.
it. Okay,
So
Fairmont. All right.
yeah.
And you're representing what town, what city?
Oh, I'm an ambassador for Highsville.
Titusville. Okay. Good job. All right.
So this piece is called "Listen to Me When I Say I Can't Breathe." Listen to me when I say I can't breathe. When I put my hands up, meaning don't shoot, but we get the boot and they still shoot. With or without the gun, we still die. You can't justify that, so we have to say our goodbyes to our brothers and our sisters, to our sons and our fathers and all. Black pain, the rage, and the sorrows are dismissed and then criminalized. We are punished for expressing our feelings and desires. A person can see what they want to see. They'll believe what they want to believe. And I know for a fact, you must not like how I act or look, because you gaze and stare as I walk to the store. And so I wonder, do you watch to see if I might steal something? Because you see the color of my skin, because no matter what, I guess when you see my skin, you see a weapon. So I can never be seen as unarmed. It's like I could take off my skin and become what? A killer? Like you? I hope I don't get killed for being Black today. I can't breathe. We got it bad because we brown. They have the authority to kill a minority, but for what? You're being blinded till you kill and violate my people because of hate? Hate? Man, open your mind and eyes. We cry for justice. We protest for a reason. Stop looking at me by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. Black people, we have legendary foundation, and don't disrespect it. That's it.
Woo.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, the mic is hot. Oh my goodness. So like I asked everyone else, what inspires you?
Well, I probably like everything, but mostly it'd be personal. But some things it'd be like if people tell me something and I feel like it in my heart and I just have to write it down, and it's just something that just makes me like makes my gears move in my brain, you know.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. How have you been throughout this pandemic? Has that added to your writing, or what has it been doing for you?
It has added to my writing because, you know, we got a lot of free time on our hands. You can't go outside that much. So, you know, I've been writing pretty much like books, like short stories, sometimes novels, and yeah.
Okay. All right. Sound good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Robert, I wanted to know if the other poet that you had, if they were available.
I don't see them on board yet. I may give a call right now.
Okay. All right. All right. Next up, introducing to you all, Marissa Michelle is a second-generation American of Haitian and Puerto Rican heritage. She is a scholastic, nationally award-winning teenage writer, published author, and artist. Marissa is also known for being an outspoken advocate for women of color, immigrants, and underserved communities. Her writing tends to reflect diverse experiences of living in America and center on topics of gender, race, and class. Marissa became a PG County Youth Poet Ambassador at 13 and won 4 regional awards in the prestigious Scholastic Arts and Writing 2018 competition. Marissa's endeavors in equity, community, and justice in her school and are deeply influenced by her personal values and beliefs. As a sophomore, Marissa was the youngest head in the history of Female Empowerment Mission Club at Sidwell Friends High School, co-founder, co-head of Students for Art and Music Club, a digital editor of the quarterly magazine, and a choreographer on the dance team. She raises awareness about underrepresented people of color, as well as the complexities of intersectionality through all aspects of her work. Marissa is also a member of the first Diversity and Ethical Leadership Conference Planning Board at her school. Marissa is a multi-talented, dedicated, spontaneous young writer who overcomes obstacles and brings a clear, loud, and innovative voice to every issue she tackles. Let me welcome you all to the Prince George's County Youth Poet Laureate of 2020, Marissa Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. That was quite the introduction, but thank you. Okay. So I've loved hearing everyone's pieces today. They're really amazing. I mostly write free verse poetry, so I have 2 free verse poems to share with you today. And I also wanted to share just before my poems 2 quotes from some amazing just Black activists and Black people in American history. So the first one is from one of my all-time favorite poets, Lucille Clifton. Funnily enough, she was actually the Maryland Poet Laureate for a time, so that's pretty cool. And she has this quote, "Things don't fall apart, things hold. Lines connect in thin ways that last, and lives become generations made out of pictures and words just kept." And I love this quote so much, and I feel like it resonates with a lot of my writing as well, because I talk about intergenerational relationships, and I have a heavy focus on imagery in my pieces, so I wanted to share that. And my first piece is connected to my Haitian heritage. My grandparents on my dad's side are both immigrants to the US from Haiti, and this piece is titled Femme Fleur, Flowering Women. Dans soleil levé à s'orange sun. In the blood orange sunrise, women brew black coffee in copper-dusted pots. The steam is bread to a starving man. Already the silence is broken by the clucking chickens pressing themselves against wire fences. Already the silence is broken by the life that rises with the children, who shake the trees and chase the wind, who orchestrate the morning, only pausing in the cool shadows of the towering hibiscus plant to stick the flowers to their noses and watch the sky awaken. Nous marchons chemin à habiter. We walk the familiar path east, where the earth is chewed tobacco under our feet, all mud and dirt and remnants of our ancestors. Here hymns sprout from our tongues, and we shout, hum, sing, the words and ode to our history. We are with such ferocity the world surrenders and bends to our anthems and moves to the stomping of our feet. Saut passé pieds zo yon noisi. Past the blackened tree bones that remind me of my grandmother's hands, past the honey-dipped hills, round as my mother's curves, we are color in the face of night, fire in the ocean, grasping with weed persistence onto rusty penny wishes. See me, hear us, feel this. Na rivière yo pique, pique. To the skin-prickling rivers where passion fruit drips off our chins, where our coiled curls are liberated, where the sun glazes my skin until velvet night falls. In the monochrome midnight we rise, this land an altar to our beauty. Here we bloom in silent shadows. Here our bodies write scripture in the water, in this moonlit churchyard. Here my mother speaks, look around. Here my mother speaks, rivières yon remplis ac femme fleur. The rivers are filled with flowering women. Rivières yon remplis ac femme fleur. The rivers are filled with flowering women. And that piece actually can be found on the Scholastic Arts and Writing Awards Gallery page. So that's pretty cool. And then my second piece is slightly shorter, and this is a quote by Colin Powell, who's the first African-American Secretary of State, and it kind of really resonated with me. It is very short: have a vision, be demanding. And this piece is one of my favorites that I've written, even though it is so short, because to me it is about a vision of hope for the future. And I feel like that can be very powerful sometimes, especially like with COVID and everything going on right now. So, on the breath of paradise. When rain is mixed with tears and thunder hides your pain, when trees snap and twist and scowl and you feel trapped, wrapped in silver chains, once you finally turn the page, Mother Nature relinquished of her rage, you know after the rain, songbirds don't sound the same. 'Cause when the morning sun does rise, I open up these tired eyes. The sky is crisp and clear. The sun shines above the melted ice, and a smooth melody dances on the breath of paradise. So thank you.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I love it. Marissa, what in terms of your writing, what do you think? What is the I guess if you had a theme or a main thread or a main idea that you were trying to get across, what would you say that would be?
I think that I probably would say I have more than one. I think that 3 central themes in my writing are probably family and intergenerational relationships, because I write so much about my grandparents and my parents and the people around me. And I think the second big theme is probably culture. Culture and home and heritage, because those are all very important to me. And in my writing, I love exploring that through the imagery and through the connections that I make between metaphors and things that I see in this world. So I think I'd say those are 2 pretty central themes in my writing. Sorry, I said this in the chat. I am a junior. Oh, I was asked this. I'm a junior. I live in Bowie, but I go to school in DC. I go to Sidwell Friends.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you, thank you. All right, Saini Cisse is the 2021 Prince George's County Youth Poet Laureate and a student at Prince George's Community College, where she has an arts concentration and is the recipient of the Dual to Degree Scholarship. She is an alumni of Eleanor Roosevelt High School's class of 2020 and Joe's Movement Emporium's Creative Works class of 2020. She has performed for Brave New Voices Youth Poetry Slam, the Kennedy Center, and the Smithsonian, and has been featured in several virtual slams and open mics during COVID. Saini was also a 2020 Youth Poet Ambassador representing Greenbelt, Maryland, and the winner of the 2020 Words, Beats, and Life Slam season, becoming a part of their DMV Slam team. Not only a published poet, Saini also has interest in sewing and photography and works with the media collective known as the Media Bureau. Recently, she has been working with Prince George's Mutual Aid as a way to help better her community. Introducing Saini Cisse.
Thank you. Okay, well, I guess I could start off with a quote since we're doing quotes. One quote that really sticks with me is by Audre Lorde, and it goes, "If I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies for me and eaten alive." And I feel like that's fitting for the first poem that I want to perform, because I wrote this poem as a way for me to kind of, I guess, empower myself in my voice again after like a time when I kind of felt like I was being silenced. So this poem is titled "On Black People Gone Ghost to Brutality or Consume." And America asks us to swallow a headline whole before rolling a clip of a Black man being murdered. It hits us and doesn't ask if we are ready, but uses and extracts our anger, leaves our bodies winless before the wait. As we watch George's life leave his, and like this, they tried to teach us that our lives don't matter, make our pain accessible with a click. They see our body and not our being, so we riot. Angry as a siren sweeping across the country, burning down buildings we built, and the president calls protesters thugs. Like the police aren't the country's deepest gang in full riot gear. The media will gaslight us before putting gas into our eyes, and the president calls protesters thugs. Politicians asking us to choose love, like sometimes love ain't accountability. The cost of Black life still weighed in mouths across America, and I've realized my existence is political. We riot where Black people gone ghost to brutality, and they ask, why are you burning down your own cities? As if to put building over body, as if we can get insurance claims on those we've lost, put clay to ether, and like that, they'll be alive again. I wish our magic worked like that. The country wraps itself in smoke, and the news stories are equally foggy. If you listen to the truth, the media won't tell it. Call our riot, spill milk, but Target won't sell it. We riot for the Black children who gotta swallow headlines with their cereal in a country where it's political for Black people to want to keep the air in our lungs. And they say, why can't you be like MLK? And they say, you ain't gotta do Gucci like that. They say, violence makes us look bad. No, violence makes them pay attention. We already look bad to them. That's why we're out here in the first place. Remember that they built America on Black bones, and they will never be able to repay what they took from us. To be Black is to be born a black hole, but we're Phoenix, can birth a dream out of what's never been. I mean, this isn't the first time we've had to do it. Been a while and we're still going through it, but no, the revolution is ours to build, even if we got to do it our bare hands. So that's that piece. The next poem that I want to do is titled Water, and the next quote that I also want to leave you guys with is by June Jordan, and she says that poetry is a political act because it involves telling the truth. Okay. This next poem is titled Water. Water is the blackest thing I've come to know, see. Black and water go hand in hand and way back to the Middle Passage. Water remembers our ancestors who couldn't bear to have a spirit that wasn't free, so they jumped ship, shed the body so the soul could return home. You could not keep them in enslavement. It remembers those who could not survive the journey and were thrown overboard because they never bothered, but to leave Black bodies floating in the water. And maybe there is something in our spirits that's been dying of thirst ever since. Black is water and thirsty for help, but Black bodies always gotta save themselves because everybody else finds it easy to look the other way and leave us to drown. Black boy drinking bottle of Hennessy like a magic potion. All unacceptable emotions are washed down with the liquor and suppressed for a while longer. Water like 1950. Black body is barred from the swimming pool because Black skin is too colorful and not lighter than a paper bag. The white faces laugh like, surely you ain't got no buoyancy in that body, and Black skin ain't never come with the right properties to float. Your hair would get messed up anyway because your mama spent 2 hours to hot comb that hair. We have forgotten how much water we really are. Like Black child telling Black parents that they are gender fluid, and they tell them that's some white people-ish. And if you pray on it enough, then maybe you can dissolve your identity. Water like Flint. How they've been too content to leave Black communities with rusty water and lead poison water. How many times we have forgotten and remembered, and how they still can't drink from their tap to this day, but they say race ain't got nothing to do with it. Say, find a better place to live. Like, can Black body become fish and swim upstream with all that magic you say you got? I once heard to withhold someone's rights to water is one of the biggest acts of violence. So tell me how this isn't war water. Like how Black women always gotta be vessel, a support and pouring even when not replenishing each time. We can only rely on each other to fill ourselves back up. Water is the blackest thing I've come to know. Like Black refugee coming from overseas for a better life, a fish out of water finding its way in a melting pot. They drink their assimilation hats and steaming water. Like how we were never taught how to swim, Have you ever noticed how the body is 70% water and 70% of us don't know how to swim to this day? Black children are at the highest risk to drown. Water like Black depression. We are taught to swallow our sad and keep swimming because there ain't never been no sympathy for Black tears. Black could scream, and the world will still try to find a way to color our blues mutes. We see water and Black hair. It is fluid and winding. Now they always want to be on our wave, want to be seasick with slick edges and waves, but never know what it feels like to drown or fill fish out of water. Just want to drink from Blackness without inheriting the Black blues, only want to dip their feet in the water without becoming it. And always quick to abandon before the osmosis creeps in, but they still say it ain't that hard to swim anymore. And if you want to know a magic trick, just say Black people invented water and watch white face turn flesh red with anger because they ain't come up with it first. All I have left to ask is, how is water the blackest thing you've ever heard? Thank you. And thank you for bearing with me because I lose my voice. But
Woo, Sandy, oh my goodness. We want to open up the floor to any questions you all may have for any of the poets. Okay, and you can either do it in the chat or you can, I guess, unmute yourself and ask away.
It appears, good afternoon, Lois Rosado. It appears that there is a lot of influence that the recent behaviors and history of that Black people have experienced in this country. La luta continua, the struggle continues. And I'm feeling, or I'm sensing a lot of pain from these young poets. I can feel the pain. And I appreciate the fact that you are writing to try and make sense of your pain. Marissa, I really appreciate the fact that you focused on the family and your experiences within the family. I am curious as to what other influences each of you have had in working on your craft.
I can, I guess, go first to kick it off, and then we can go around. I feel like in my poems, and I think you get a hint of it from what I shared today, I have a lot of imagery. I love to focus on like the natural world and how I can put that into my writing, but share it in a way that gives the audience a new perspective or maybe think of something in a new way. So I feel like in my writing, I focus a lot on both storytelling with my family, as well as the here and now, the present and the past. So I think those are very prevalent in my pieces.
I guess I can answer next. So I guess for me, like you talked about like the influence of family. I guess for me, like my poems, I kind of write out of a way to like document. I feel like poems are something that can outlast and like they can last. So I guess for me, I really like to speak to like the silences and the things that I feel like aren't really talked about and like put power back into it. Cause also I feel like as Black people, we're kind of taught like that our experiences and the kind of ways that we look through the world aren't important. So for me, I like to make the choice to kind of speak on those things and to like, when I perform them, it's like putting that power back into what it means to be a Black person and what that experience is like, and to say that those things are important.
I can answer too. I would say that for me, what influences my poetry outside of what we've talked about today is I guess my growth and maturity as a person. I think every poet can relate that their poetry can be I guess referred to as a time capsule in a sense, because what we write about, it has everything to do with it correlates. Did my internet cut out?
We can hear you, but it's
Y'all
breaking up a
hear
bit.
me?
It's breaking up, yeah.
We can still hear you though.
Hello?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Oh God.
Okay, so she's going to step out and come back. Joran, you wanted to respond?
I was gonna say what influences me is other I read a lot, so reading things from the past, honestly. So there's this famous talk between Nikki, Giovanni, and James Baldwin, which where they just talk about different topics discussed that involve Black people during the time. This was like in the 1970s, I think. But things like that, like those ways that you can look back into the past and see how it's relevant to our current state. Those are things that influence me, besides my immediate family and whatnot. Seeing how I can relate to situations from like the 1970s or 1920s, stuff like that. So things from the past influence me a lot. And other poets, other people's perspectives on things which generate my own perspectives. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
Hi, this is Rebecca Sutphin, and I have a question for everybody. First off, congratulations. I had no idea what to expect, and that moved me to tears. So congratulations to everyone. My question is, after everyone is done with school, whether it's in high school or college, will you continue to write? And what is your long-term goal for your writing?
I can go. I mean, I definitely want to continue writing.
I guess, okay.
Sorry. I definitely want to keep writing after I graduate. I hope to go into filmmaking, and I think it'd be awesome to be a director and a screenwriter, but I am going to continue writing poetry. And right now I have a finished manuscript for poetry chapbook, which I'm trying to get out to some printing presses here and there. So I'm working on it, but I don't think I'm going to stop writing.
That's I can answer. Also, same, like, I don't think I'll ever stop writing. That's something that I've been doing for a long time. And I feel like for me, it's kind of like a emotional outlet and like a way that I cope and respond to the world. So I feel like that's something that's really integral and important for me. And I also, I hope to be published. I guess long term, I'm really somebody who wants to just continue to be a part of a community and be a resource to a community. So whatever form that takes, yeah, and also like art. So I don't really know where I'm going to end up or how that's going to be, but that's like my long-term vision.
I would say that I definitely wouldn't stop writing or anything. Personally, I want to be an author. So, but for stories as well as poetry, like I'm not going to stop writing poetry either. And I would hope to be a resource, like Sandy said, to others who are my age when I'm older. That makes sense.
For me, I wouldn't stop writing either, because I've been writing since probably like in fifth grade. So writing is like really my outlet to most things. So I don't think I will, ever stop writing. And also, I also want to be an author, but I do poetry and short stories and also like novels and stuff. So that I want to do that too, and also filmmaking. So those really like my long term like screenplays and stuff. I want to do those.
I'll go. To answer the question, no, I don't think I'll ever stop writing. Writing isn't just something that I share with the community or try and have everybody else or a grander audience understand my perspective. But for me personally, I have revelations and I have a personal understanding when I do poetry, not of things of the world, not politics, but not racial issues, but also things about myself, because I also write about what I'm going through too. So I do really believe that I will truly continue writing poetry, whatever that may look like. I leave everything up to God's hands. I don't know what that'll look like, but I will continue writing always.
Okay, I've shared the dialect website and dialect Instagram social media input in the chat. And if you all, if all of the youth poet laureates could share your social media information as well, so we can follow you all. And I want to kick it back to Rick.
All right, I just want to thank all you that participated. What we've seen right here is excellence. It is true Black excellence. We've seen these young kings and queens express themselves in such a way that will make the ancestors proud. And I just want to thank you all for just giving us, all of you, throughout this whole program. I mean, really, I mean, y'all did it. I mean, y'all, I thought I got a long way to go because I got to catch up with y'all. I've written 3 books, and I'm still got to catch up with y'all. Y'all kids, y'all got skills. I got to give it to you. Y'all got the serious skills, and I learned so much from you today. And it was such an awesome experience. And we just want to thank you for being with us on behalf of the committee and RUAC, and I just want to just thank you again. Also to you, Mr. Adams, doing a great job. You and Patrick are doing a great job mentoring. We thank you for what you do, you know, kind of mentoring and taking, you know, our youth by the hand and guiding them along the way. And I just want to recognize, I think our county laureate, I saw Sister Joy. I saw her in here. I heard her pop. Now she's still, but I just want to recognize her. So definitely Sister Joy, who is a great poet in her own right. And we definitely want to thank you for popping in and being a part of this program. And before we close, I want to turn it over to our co-chair, Dr. Lois Rosado.
Okay, I see you, Sister Joy. What do you want to say?
Thank you so much. I know I came in late, and for that I apologize, but I'm so glad I made it. I absolutely had to just be here, at least to say congratulations to our youth poet laureates with an S, because the excellence that has been blazed through this trail of now 6 years is absolutely incredible. And of course, Marissa and Saini are just fantastic. You are just the beacons that Prince George's County and the world needs to see and hear. So I'm honored to be in your ranks because I know that you are taking the future forward. So as is said on many fronts, forward, forward, forward. Congratulations. And for those that are not necessarily in the biblical sense, the word amen does translate to mean it is so. Amen.
Thank you, Sister Joy. I hope you young poets know that Sister Joy was the first poet laureate of PG County, and we were very honored to have her present at our last Black History program, and she was just terrific. And we've stayed close because I did attend several sessions with her, and she does have sessions that you all might be interested in being a part of. They're international, so we got to hear poetry from all around the world, and that was wonderful. I also want to introduce Leanne Irwin, who is the co-chair with me of the Greenbelt Black History and Culture Committee. And I wanted to thank you, the poets. I heard a lot of pain. And I think one of the most positive ways of us expressing that pain is to write it, share it, and express it. Because as several of you mentioned, it is our history, and that history has to be maintained. Our history has to be written. Our history has to move forward. And I want to thank you for giving us your time this afternoon, and especially Mr. Adams. I hope you continue the wonderful work with young people. It is so critical and so important. And Marissa, and who was the other person that wanted to do films? Joran? Who said films? I think it was Joran or Dejuan. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your first movies. That should be that will be a lot of fun. Who knows? You may team up together. Leanne, did you want to say something?
I would like to talk. Thank you everyone for participating in our Greenbelt Black History Month and culture programs. As a white person of European heritage, your history is my history. My history is your history. It was very difficult to hear some of your stories and your anger, but I am happy to hear it. And I appreciated also some self-reflections that were you were willing to be vulnerable with us and to talk of difficult things. Whatever age we are, we have difficult things we're dealing with. So thank you, and I look forward to hearing you all at other events like maybe Juneteenth or some other events that are coming down the road. So peace, thank you.
Thank you. And Rick, thank you. And Mr. Adams, again, thank you. And I'd like to also thank the Greenbelt Recreation Department. And I would like to thank Random Unusual Acts of Kind. Did I say it right, Robert? Random, well, what's the middle one?
Random, unselfish acts.
Unselfish.
But very unusual.
But yeah, that's unusual. Acts of kindness for also working with our committee and organizing this event. Rick, you did a terrific job. Thank you so much. So I will bid goodbye to everyone and thank you all, even our audience, for participating and sharing this incredible experience with young people that we just heard. Good night or good afternoon. I want to file chat.